we're just so used to the Queen being just like this living symbol that is just a part of our country and our
Yeah,
culture and our
yeah,
experience. So, and then yeah, to have that change is quite sort of strange. But in a way, and I often feel this way when people physically die, is that I feel like they've not gone anywhere, or like they're still right here.
yeah,
um, and it's just interesting to see the surface features change, I guess, which is
yes,
that's the kind of experience that I have about it. It's like she's still right here with us.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting to contemplate, um, what she represented in this lifetime for herself and for so many. Um, I think it has a lot to do with the idea of consistency, as has often been spoken about, service.
Yeah.
Um, she, I feel like she was definitely sort of a mother figure
Mm.
to many, almost to the world in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
someone that didn't really, maybe in private she did, but publicly didn't really take sides.
Mm.
Someone that was just very welcoming and open, down to earth, and didn't take herself too seriously, although she required respect. Um, but yeah, um, it's interesting for me and my family actually, because my mum's side were descended from the princes of Wales, the true Welsh kings and
Oh, really?
princes.
Okay. Okay.
So in contemplating and seeing the coronation, not coronation, the proclamation
Hmm.
of King Charles and Prince
Mm.
of Wales, William, um, is yeah, it's interesting because I see and I appreciate the symbolism of what the royal family represents for the nation and the Commonwealth and the world as an example family, a
Mm.
family which we can look up to for a reference and a guide. Although,
Yeah.
as with that family, every family has challenges. Um, and I was just thinking to myself, is there's different there's different theories around who is the legitimate king. There's two individuals who are alternative options for the King of Britain, other than Charles. But then I just thought, well, it doesn't even really matter. It
Sure.
really, really doesn't matter.
Mhm.
Um, and I think even if even if it were the case that one of these alternative individuals took it upon themselves to, you know, um, question and then accept the kingship, uh, would the populace accept that? And would it have the same effect as it being Charles?
Mm.
And I think it probably wouldn't because we don't know these individuals,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and we haven't got the history of the family. So even though it's not the perfect fit,
Mm.
um, you know, it's it is the perfect fit in a
Yeah.
way
Of
because
course.
we know they're familiar people, they're familiar faces, we know their story, and that for me is what the royal family is about. It's about a story.
Yeah.
It's about it's about more than just this idea of blood. It's more about the idea of the symbology, the symbolism of a family which we have as our own,
Mm.
which we can hold up before us as a standard. Um, yeah, there's so many nuances to it.
Of course. Yeah, it's that sense of having a touchstone that's, and you said it at the start, like consistency, this constant kind of, yeah, okay, they're there, I know that they're there, and it's kind of comforting. It's
Mhm.
incredibly comforting. And I would be curious to know how changing from having a female queen changes to having now a masculine energy about it.
Yeah, and it's going to be masculine for some time.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's interesting. I think,
yeah,
yeah, men and women, masculine, feminine, we operate in different ways. And I think the way that the kings will handle situations was likely to be different to the way Queen Elizabeth handled situations. I think, this idea of how, like I said before, how she was very much a neutral party in things and she didn't really take sides.
yeah,
I don't think men in general find that an easy thing to do.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
we're quite opinionated at times, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just different, um, and it will be interesting to see how that plays out.
yeah, absolutely. And to see the effects that will have in people's the relationship, you know, how this new relationship will change because essentially, Charles has been he's been he's not been the upfront guy in the middle of this kind of triptych. I always see this, it's not like I guess a hierarchy, but just the image of the queen being there in the middle on the throne. So now, so the people that surrounds her is like, of course, relevant and significant, but they're not the
The
focus.
centerpiece.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And having a woman be the centerpiece for such a long time
Mm.
has been a kind of like she's gone her face and her profile have gone like
Yeah.
hand in hand with what England is. It's like,
Mm.
what do you think of when you think of England? It's like, okay, the Union Jack,
Royal
uh,
family.
yeah, Queen, her face,
Queen.
the money, the pound sterling,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's changed the equation, the recipe of like the idea of England and Britain.
Definitely.
Um,
It was interesting when the Queen was proclaimed. I thought to myself immediately, God, we live literally in a kingdom now.
right.
We're
Oh
in a
yeah.
kingdom, and
Mm,
this is a masculine-led head of state kingdom.
mm,
Um, and it felt empowering to contemplate that.
mm.
However, I did in the moment think, it was the reign of Elizabeth it was special because it was a female,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was. I mean, how many really powerful, influential females have the kind of gravitas that she has,
Yeah. Yeah.
where world leaders will go in and then just act like little children. And
Yeah.
you know, she was. I never met her, but she was really small,
Yeah.
tiny, um, down to earth, not aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's like, God,
Mm,
it's as I say, that soft power of a very grounded female like her.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's not going to be the same.
That's
And like I say, it's going to be interesting to see what does
yeah.
transpire.
That's right. I do feel because, and maybe this will be the case for others too, is that because she was around for so long, that the energy or that um uh yeah, her underlying kind of offering is just it lingers. There's that sense. It
Mm.
feels like yes, it's still here.
Yeah.
You can still tap into it. You can still, and I'm not even talking about her necessarily as an individual, but the effect that her being the queen had
Mm.
for
I think it's gonna, and I don't mean this in a negative way. I think it's gonna overshadow what the Kings do,
yeah, yeah,
because
most
it's going to be there in the background as a point of reference for everybody.
yeah. It's quite a hard act to follow, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, she
yeah,
literally, I think, I mean, I haven't known any other monarchs, because obviously I've only lived this lifetime here now in terms of Benjamin Everett, but I've obviously experienced others in parallel lives that I'm not currently aware of. But this idea of, sorry, I'm just looking at,
so
I made some notes on um, the royal family and how I was responding to the transition. And it's interesting what I picked up, so I'll share with those some of these ideas with you in a minute. But yeah, Yeah, I think the Queen's energy will be a residual. Um,
Mhm.
you know, it will have a long, long shelf life or half life,
Yeah,
like radiation, just going
yeah,
on and on and on, years and years and years.
yeah, absolutely. And that kind of happened with Princess Diana as well, in a way.
Yeah.
Where was this? And was it Mother Teresa? I think she transitioned at the same time as Diana,
Mm.
and both having that mothering kind of energy, being feeling like they could take care of children no matter who they were,
Yeah.
and like show love for these
Immense
people.
compassion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah,
just
I'm not sure Charles has the same level of compassion, but
yeah, I mean
we'll see what other qualities he brings to the table. But
yeah,
yeah, it's going to be interesting. Would you like me to share some of my insights?
please do.
Um, I'll do my best to keep it concise and succinct because I made quite copious and extensive notes.
Yeah. No problem.
Um, and you'll see the sort of angle that I was coming at with a lot of these ideas. Um, I've entitled, I tend to make notes about things within my emails, so I'll create a draft email.
Yeah,
Um, and this one's entitled Secrets of the Royal Family.
okay.
Um, being present and making people feel special, seen, understood, and appreciated. The attitude and behavior of distance. They never need to pursue or chase anyone or anything, and as such, everyone and everything comes to them. There's a sense of exclusivity, scarcity, rarity, and therefore demand and desire. So it's almost like if you think about, because I was contemplating what it is that makes the royal family, and not any other family.
Mm,
What have they done, whether it be conscious or unconscious, to create such a magnetic mystique and draw?
mm, mm,
And it's very, in just contemplating what when I was watching the things on the news and watching, I wasn't just watching. I was analyzing,
yeah.
like, how have they done that? How have they pulled this off?
Yeah, right, okay.
You know,
Of course, yeah,
um,
absolutely.
their lives are about people and service. Their greatest asset is their influence and perceived power of their association. And as such, people are drawn to them because people are drawn to power.
Mm.
I'm sort of what's the word? What's the word when you um, abbreviate, when you cut something down rather than quoting the entire
Paraphrasing.
paraphrase? I'm paraphrasing myself here.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, it's working.
Because they appear to have everything and are in need of nothing, people naturally want to be associated with them and give them things. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's why.
That's real flip, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you want to be given lots of things, if you want to have gifts coming to your front door all the time, appear to have everything.
That's right.
Incredible.
That's like it happens with celebrities too, where they're like, "Oh, you start making a certain amount of money, and then people just start giving you stuff for free."
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because the association with you as an individual
Mm.
and your aura and
Mm.
your perceived power is greater than getting anything else from you.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as such, you want to curry favor
Yeah.
with gifts.
Yes.
What's another one? Yeah, they always present themselves in the best possible light, being exceptionally socially aware and behaving in supreme ways that people feel both comfortable and honored to be around. There's that word again.
Yes. Yeah.
This idea of being exemplary.
Mm. Mm.
Um, when you're, and the likes of you and I don't want to sound conceited when I say this, but the likes of you and I don't often get to feel this way around people,
Yeah.
where we feel truly honored to be around someone because of their exemplary conduct. Because let's be honest, typically we are those individuals
Mm.
for other people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so, and as such, I've never really felt the need to go and seek out other people that would make me feel honored because I already, it's an odd one because I already feel like I'm one of those people. So why would I need to go and find
Sure.
one?
Of course. I think,
It's
yeah,
funny, isn't it?
it's come to mind for me lately as well, where I'm thinking, uh, it takes a lot to impress me in a way. I'm like, everything
I'm
else,
I'm the same.
and so I'm
Uh,
not often impressed, and that's okay. It doesn't mean it often I am in the sense when I can look at everyone, look at anybody, and
yeah,
say
there's
they
something beautiful about that person, and they've got qualities I haven't got.
yeah. But
Yeah,
in terms of aspiration, which is what you were describing as the royal family being for many people,
yeah,
is
it's a great word. Yeah,
yeah, I'm like, well, I really do need like to see Yeshua just walking around doing his thing for me to go, okay, or like I can, uh, that's something to aspire to,
mm,
not
mm,
that I need him walking around in front of me, but just the idea. Well, okay, that there's like um, an experience I found myself in the middle of, which is that wanting someone on the outside to be the way that I would prefer to be, being their
mm,
natural selves completely.
mm.
So then I can go, now, like if they can do it, I can do it. And if they are doing it, then I can allow myself to do it without being the first person to do it. I don't want
Yeah.
to be there's this idea of like, I don't want to
If
be
you're going to be the first, like Yeshua, you're going to get yourself put on a cross.
exactly like, yeah, literally they're going to crucify me, man. Like, um, but um, but that's the whole thing is that there's no need to there's no actual need to have those examples of other people. Like that's not what we're doing. We're here to be the examples.
Yeah,
So as a byproduct of just being ourselves anyway,
yeah.
we're here to be ourselves regardless of having someone on the outside going,
Yes,
here
it's
I am.
okay. You've got permission to be that way.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think I strongly feel that about myself, and I feel that for you. No, I'm not putting this on you, but I feel that for you that you know um, we're here to give ourselves permission to be our true selves and to be Christ's our
Yeah,
version, our version
yeah,
of Christ. And I see that I see myself moving closer and closer to that realization, and I see and sense and feel that with you. And that's why I'm always excited to connect with you because I just know that I'm communicating with another real one, and it's just like so few opportunities do I get where I can look someone in the eye, connect with them heart to heart, and know that they're about what I'm about. And that's why I honor you and this friendship so much.
me too. So good.
So, and I'll just say I'll speak about one or two more
Yes.
insights I had. Never being seen to be out of control or rude, preferring moderation, familiarity, and humor than taking insult or offense, to taking insult or offense. That again ties into the idea of just being an exemplary
Mm,
social being,
yes.
um, affording people an opportunity to feel comfortable rather than an opportunity to feel uncomfortable.
Yes.
When people meet the royal family, typically it's in a state of being of deference.
Mhm.
You know, let's talk about it in black and white. Most people think that they're talking and associating with their betters when they meet the royal family.
Yeah.
But if the royal family can allow that to be a present underlying tone, and yeah, at the same time, allow that person through their conduct to feel special and seen and understood, how does that make that person feel?
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, it's about people and service, and it's about how we make people feel or allow people to feel,
Mm. Mm.
you know.
That's so good, isn't it? Wonderful.
Um, what some other ones? Yeah, only extending invitations for private audiences, either yeah, with people that they value. So this is the idea of defining their relationships in ways that benefit them and the other person,
Okay.
to allow them to be seen as exclusive and to be extending an opportunity to the other person to be seen as a rare opportunity.
Yes. Yes.
Hence, therefore, valuable. And
Right.
people always want to get value,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Totally.
know. So even in just defining a meeting as an audience, a private audience,
Yeah.
is such a small change, but it's a massive change
Mm.
in
Mm.
terms of that perception that the person goes in with it as having. You
Yes.
know, so that they're just a few little ideas that came. There's so many more, but you know, I like you. I'm sure. You know, I look at these things and I look at them as opportunities to learn and grow. So yeah, I'll be adopting some of those.
Yes. Yes. And that's something I really appreciated was watching watching Prince William talking to members of the public recently. I saw a clip, and then seeing him and Harry walking behind the at the back of the funeral procession where
Mhm.
they're carrying her coffin, and yeah, just exhibiting these mannerisms, these qualities of really, yeah, being benign and um uh inoffensive,
Mhm.
completely inoffensive,
Mhm.
and knowing you can watch them and you can know that they know they are able to kind of light someone up by
Yeah.
having a conversation with them
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
change their day and change their life perhaps because someone can say, oh, I met so and so once
Mm. Mm.
and it was amazing and he was so down to earth and so normal, but he's a prince. And it's like, what, like, yeah, having humility despite status,
It
despite
reminds me, you know, as just talking about this sort of stuff, it reminds me of how I sense it must have been for people to meet the likes of Yeshua
mm, mm,
and Miriam and
yeah,
Mary.
yeah,
You know, it's like when you meet someone, and I've never, I can't really say, I mean, I've had degrees of this experience when I've met someone that I've got high regard for and
yeah,
high esteem for, such as John and yourself. I can honestly say when when I knew you were coming, on the day that I knew you were coming, I was like, God, I'm so excited to meet this person. There's something really special about this guy. And I
yeah,
don't usually have that feeling where I'm like, God, I need to be on, you know, I need to be on my ball here, just like totally on it. Because just the anticipation was great. Because you're a
yes,
special character.
mm,
Um, and I don't get the opportunity much. But yeah, the idea of the royal family, they almost embody in modern times what it must have been like for people in ancient times to
mm,
meet masters like Yeshua, like Buddha, like
yeah, yeah,
Krishna.
yes,
You know, it's like a level of yeah, their level and yet their humility and their conduct
mhm,
towards people that you could argue, vibrationally speaking, are lesser than them,
mhm,
has such a massive impact.
yeah,
You know, and if you can embody, as you say,
good,
humility, kindness, compassion,
yeah,
all these good things, then what an amazing opportunity that is not only for you but for them.
yes,
And that royal family, and I'm sure other royal families are aware of this.
Mm.
Um, and so, yeah, it's special.
That's the gift, or it's certainly the gift that we're seeing being uh, being given freely in those
Hmm.
instances, and it's lovely to see. Like it really is to see it
Yeah.
actually happening.
There's lots of debate at the moment as to whether the royal family um, is outdated, whether we should even have a royal family, this, that, and the other. I personally, um, I don't see anybody as better than me.
Mm.
Maybe this is just the way I've been brought up. Maybe this is just my belief system.
Yeah.
Um, but what I do see is the need for, within the context of society at large, within the world's, you know, scope,
Mhm.
to have at least an individual or set of individuals who are seen to be examples for others.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
important.
Of course.
Whether or not they uphold
Mhm.
all of our expectations or not is
Mhm.
besides the point. The point is that I think we all need role models. For me, it's been Yeshua, and it's been certain individuals within this lifetime that
Mhm.
I've either known or been aware of. Very few, very, very few. Um, Probably maybe 3 or 4 people I could say have been on my list of people that I look up to. But I think collectively, that's what the royal family of Britain
Yes.
holds
Yeah.
as a what's the word? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They hold that space. They're
Sure.
that kind of placeholder
Yeah.
for the world, for the Commonwealth, and for Britain.
Mhm.
And I think it's relevant. I think
Definitely.
within the scheme of the consciousness of humanity, that's relevant still, and it will always be.
Yes. Yes. And the fact that it's there and we have it is evidence to the fact that it's needed in that expression.
Yes,
Doesn't
and the
mean it
fact that
can't.
there's so many people being drawn to it. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, you could argue the royal family has ties with politicians, media,
Yeah.
big business.
Sure.
Yeah, all those things exist. We're all very much aware of that. However, still, regardless of that, there is a lot of attention and there is a strong desire for people in general
Yeah.
to have a role model and figures to look up to. And
Exactly.
I don't think it's a negative thing.
No.
Obviously, the way things are run within the royal family and the institution,
Mhm.
um, I think needs a bit of changing, adjusting, for it to be more integrated in terms of, you know, yeah, I'll leave it at that. But
Yeah.
as a general rule, I think that the symbology and symbolism of the royal family is necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. And I think when should there come a time when things where the dynamics of that change or need to change drastically in order to facilitate more cohesion within society and between people,
Hmm.
then it will be a simple
Yeah,
decision, I think.
yeah,
But yeah, it's wonderful to see so many people get so much joy out of the fact that there is a royal family and that
yeah.
that alone. And you were talking earlier about story.
Hmm.
There's some magic for people in it.
Yes, I was just about to say
Right.
that element of ritual
Yeah.
that they have in all the pomp and ceremony.
Mm.
Um, how many people get to be exposed to, unless you're in the spiritual realm,
Mm.
how many people get to be exposed to ritual nowadays with an element of spirituality? Very, very few. Very,
Yeah.
very few. And I think that's a part of the draw
Mm.
because a lot of what the ritual represents within the royal family harkens back to a lot of our collective understandings of rituals within previous civilizations.
Of
I,
course.
I know that for sure, without
Yeah.
doubt.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's that common thread in a way that links every society throughout history
Mm-hmm.
to the first humans,
Yes. Yeah.
and um, that relationship of, and you can look at the Anunnaki and the native hominid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the relationship that came out of that, the of looking up, literally like, oh god, they're
Yeah.
taller, and all of this stuff going on,
Yeah.
and to kind of and it's like a dance. This is our human story.
Yes. Very
This is
much.
our origin, and we're even though it's relatively um, lesser known, that our history, certainly I don't we don't even know the full history, but uh yeah, just that dance is still going on, where we're looking at um bloodlines and status
Mm-hmm.
and hierarchy in that sense, and how it can be a positive thing. If you look
Yes.
at nature, bee colonies have a queen, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like that's just naturally the whole hemisphere.
And whenever people go to the garden centre, they always want the strongest looking plant.
Sure.
But no one complains about wanting the strongest looking plant. I think a lot of these things tap into our subconscious understanding, which we innately know.
Yeah.
And I think, as you say, it it almost flicks on our dormant genetics for a lot of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, definitely.
Whether it's a lot of this is happening unconsciously, I'm sure,
Mm,
where people are witnessing this sort of thing, this sort of transition, and
mm,
being reminded of these themes.
mm,
And yeah, they're being triggered, genetics are being turned on, others are being turned off,
yeah.
and they're being opened up in ways which they don't often get the opportunity to be opened up in.
Yes, exactly. That's right. And that's we're talking about how they provide a service and are of service. It's like
Hmm.
so much more to it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Uh, there's so much service that's being provided.
And I'm thinking at the moment in relation to how the current royal family
Mhm.
relates to our collective past. And for me, that would be the idea of that sort of kingly line of the Atlanteans, the priestesses of Atlantis,
Yeah.
all these powerful individuals who existed in our collective past, and the rituals and the ceremonies that surrounded them and their power,
Mhm.
and being an opportunity for the populace to see, here's an example before me of someone to be admired, someone to be, um, respected, because I can see in that individual and in their conduct that I can be that way too if I want to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have this power within me. They're just an example for me to see
Of course.
of the power dormant within me.
Mm, mm,
And so, yeah, I think the royal family is very relevant still. And
definitely.
if it's not the royal family, it's going to be, there's always going to be someone else or something else to hold that place of an example for others.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. It's nice to um, look at things like the king as an archetype, right?
Hmm.
The fact that it's included amongst male mature archetypes,
Yes.
and then to have it as a literal kind of position that someone could be in.
Hmm.
We're certainly I've not been more kind of aware of my how I can apply archetypes like that to myself as I am now.
Yes. That's what stood out for me in this process is that,
Yeah,
okay, I'm seeing this play out before me. How does this relate to me?
yeah,
How it relates to me is I can take up my own sovereignty and be the king of my own life
yeah,
and be the exemplar of the ideal version of my kingly self.
yes, yeah. That's it.
And
It's,
as I've said from the beginning, as soon as I met you, I knew you were just like, this is a kingly guy.
so
You've
funny.
got the characteristics of it all. Not that I'm anybody to listen to in terms of kingly stuff, but um, yeah, when I think of, if someone would say to me, who do you know in your personal life or in the public sphere, who represents and resembles the kingly virtues? And I would say yourself or my twin Tom
Okay, yeah,
and myself,
good.
modestly speaking.
Well, because you would have to be the thing itself to be able to perceive
Yeah,
such.
real recognize real.
Yes, and that's something. What was the phrase you used? Kingly
Kingly virtues.
virtues. Yeah, that like my mind has been wrapping itself around the kingly virtues and how
Mm.
and my version of that as I am to express those things, right?
Well, whatever it is that you've been coming up with, even before this period, it's been working.
Well,
Because I thought that as soon as I met you, as soon as I clapped eyes on you, um, I knew, yeah, if this guy lived in the 12th century, he'd be a king, or he'd be a baron, or something special. Because back then, people got to those positions by being good people.
mm, mm,
That's how you became a baron and a king and a
yeah,
prince and a
yeah,
dean, because you were someone to be looked up to.
mm.